Hey you guys, welcome to my channel. Today this is going to be critical thinking with the 20th key. I'm the 20th key and this is critical thinking. And so let me do a brief introduction. Critical thinking with the 20th key is going to be a series where I'm going to discuss how to think critically. Okay, critical thinking. What is critical thinking? Critical thinking is objective analysis and evidence evaluation of an issue in order to form a judgment. Critical thinking is the analysis of facts to form a judgment. Uh, this channel specifically is for social justice, and our goal is to inform the American people, specifically Black people, about injustice in America and how we can finally gain justice and finally be free from bondage. As Black people, we've been in bondage our entire lives. And many of us are very frustrated and we're thinking, when is this going to end? How is it going to end? If you are familiar with my channel, you know that as a Black person, I'm about accountability. Um, White people are not going to free us from bondage. There is something called the white supremacist collective conscious, whose goal, purpose, and intent is to maintain economic and social power. And since we are the minority, it has been a struggle our entire lives to be freed from bondage. Again, if you're familiar with other videos, um, it is my belief that America has broken its promise to Black people. The promise of us being citizens and being treated equally and having liberty and a pursuit of happiness, the whole nine, as it pertains to the Constitution, specifically the 14th Amendment. And again, my goal is to free us from bondage. In order to be free from bondage, we have to do the work. We have to do specific duties or specific actions to free us. And it can be tiring and debilitating, but being a social activist was not my choice. It chose me, and it's my purpose. I love Black people, and this is one of the many steps that I'm taking to free us from bondage. And so one of the things that we have to do, you guys, we have to learn to think more critically. And just really quickly, I should say to you, I learned the idea or the premise of foundations for critical thinking in undergrad. It was one of my classes. It was an English class in California. Cal State schools require that you complete a critical thinking class. So the purpose is for you to evaluate information and deduce what's the best answer. What is the best answer? And so many of us, Black people, if you're not Black, you're welcome to listen and welcome to participate. But this is to help educate Black people to be better critical thinkers, because in order for us to move forward and sincerely free ourselves from bondage, we need to be able to look at information, look at ideas, look at situations, and be able to evaluate them critically. And so critical thinking, what is critical thinking? Critical thinking is the objective analysis and evidence evaluation of an issue in order to form a judgment. Critical thinking is analysis of facts to form a judgment. Okay, so what my belief is, I know it's a whole range of audience out here watching these videos. Some may have a high school diploma, college educated, post-grad, coming from different walks of life, different ethnic groups. And so I want to make this as basic as I can, because I want to appeal to as many Black people as I can. Okay? And so where should I begin? Okay. In short, making sure you have sound reasoning for your beliefs. And then I think of the word sound. What does sound mean? Sound means reliable, free of flaws. That's one of my words that I use when I say something is sound. You may not be familiar with the word sound, but when I say make sure you have sound reasoning for your beliefs, mean that you have accurate, free of flaws, good judgment. Okay? Okay, so critical thinking involves two distinct processes. One, finding credible sources and information. Two, analysis of the information to determine that the information is clear, accurate, precise, consistent, relevant, reasonable, and fair. Okay, that's two distinct processes to think critically. Again, finding credible sources and information, analysis of the information to determine that the analysis of the information is clear, accurate, precise, consistent, relevant, reasonable, and fair. Okay, to be a critical thinker, you must be open-minded. When you receive information, do you automatically believe what they're saying? When someone says something to you, do you automatically believe because they said that it's true or it's correct? I, unfortunately or fortunately, I question everything. Okay, and I've been known. Well, I question everything, and sometimes for me as an individual, it comes off as if I'm challenging the person, and that's because I'm a critical thinker. So I realize if someone says something to me, I don't take what they say as face value. I'll ask additional questions. I'll ask, like, where did they get the information? I may even ask questions about the person that gave them the information. Okay? So, of course, you can't always rely on statements. Regardless of who is making that statement, because it's always additional circumstances or additional circumstances that might relate to whatever the thing in question is. Okay, to be a critical thinker, you also need to be honest with yourself. This is the difficult part, okay? You gotta be honest with yourself. So let me say this to you. I want to explain it to you really correctly, okay? I have an affinity for debating, okay? And typically, I will have a debate with an intelligent or intellectual person. Intelligent, intellectual people, more times than not, will admit if they're incorrect or wrong about their initial analysis. And that's because it has to do with their ego, okay? Intelligent, intellectual people will admit when they're wrong for the fear of not appearing intelligent or intellectual, okay? Those who are not secure, insecure people will stick to the lie. Insecure people may not be so quick to admit when they're wrong, and it has to do with them feeling insecure. Some insecure people might stick with their statement and not admit that they have a change of heart because they don't want to appear like they're wrong. And that comes from a place of insecurity, because the person who's a critical thinker and who's able to evaluate the information can come to a conclusion of what is fact and what is conjecture or inaccurate. Okay, so I'm saying that to you because to me it's one of the characteristics of human beings and just being human nature. I've gone to discussions with people, specifically on YouTube, and they'll make all these comments. And the comments don't make any sense. Just because they put sentences together doesn't mean that it's accurate. And I don't tend to engage with those people. And this is not to offend anyone, but I have very little tolerance for ignorance. And so if a person I'm having a discussion with, they're not capable of looking at the facts and deducing from the facts what is probable and what is more accurate, then that is about ego and emotion. And so, Black people, that's why this is critical thinking with the 20th key. I need all my Black people, I need y'all to level up. We have to level up because, again, we're not going to be free from bondage unless we free ourselves. In order to do so, we have to be critical thinkers. Okay, so are you aware of your own biases and prejudices? We all were raised in different racial, social, economical, cultural, religious backgrounds. And so we all have personal biases. If we were raised in a household where people made specific comments about a certain religion or a racial background, many of you may hold those beliefs just based on that way you were taught those beliefs growing up, so you will parrot that information. And you guys, I have a tendency to make videos long because I always do my personal anecdotes. I'm a Black person who is very multicultural. I have grown up and engaged with every nationality. I kind of gravitate to a variety of different racial, ethnic, religious groups because I'm inquisitive and I like to learn. I was raised, so what I'm trying to say is growing up, and I may have said this before, you may have seen this on a different video, I hung out with girls that I worked with, and frequently they were white girls. And sometimes they were white girls that dated Black guys. So they would tell me what their parents think and would say about Black people. Okay? And so, again, we have our own personal biases and prejudices. I'm thinking back to these conversations I had with these girls because this was over 20 years ago, but I remember them talking to me. I remember them saying these things to me. And if you get to know me, if you watch my videos, I'm open and you could tell me your truth, okay? Because I'm a critical thinker. So I'm open to listening. And they would tell me what their fathers thought and what they would think. And you know what? They would say to me in a way where, to some degree, they were questioning it. They weren't sure. You know, when you're teenagers, you're going to be rebellious and defiant anyway, right? So these young white girls may have believed what their parents were saying, but you all, you know, many of us go through these rebellious stages. And so when these girls would tell me these things, I remember one specific girl. And the way she would say it to me, she would talk to me like she kind of questioned what her dad was saying. It's not that she didn't believe him, but she didn't know if he was telling the truth. And she was finding out herself by being open and engaging with another Black person. Okay, so again, we have these personal prejudices and biases based on not only our race or our religion, but the groups that we gravitate to. Preppy, emo, urban, hipsters. Those groups frequently have similar thought processes and ideas about the world and life. So being in a certain group or being exposed to a certain area, you might have some personal prejudices and biases, and your decisions or your beliefs are based on what you feel, what you think from your environment. So that's what I want to say. Okay, so Can you take constructive criticism? Being a critical thinker, you must be able to take constructive criticism. I made some notes on this because, okay, can you take constructive criticism? To be a critical thinker, you have to be open to taking constructive criticism. Another touchy situation. Okay, again, this is to coach you all to become critical thinkers. And to become critical thinkers, we have to be self-aware. Okay, so I'm laughing because I always come from my own space with my own experience. Okay, and can you take constructive criticism? Again, I'm coming from my own place, and I'm going to share my experience. How I became more open to constructive criticism is as I grew, I would kind of assess my past experiences. And so getting criticism at work is one of the things I want to talk about. My background is sales. And one of the ways I recognize that I need to be more open about constructive criticism, and was I always open to constructive criticism, is thinking and reminiscing about my reviews for work. Okay, I was a salesperson by trade. I was a very successful salesperson, and you guys get performance reviews every quarter or whatever. Okay, and I always hit my goal. So if you are doing something and you're hitting your matrices and your goals, you can't talk about me. I got this. I know what I'm doing. If you criticize and you're wrong, explain to me if the information you're giving me is legitimate. Why am I hitting my goals? Okay? This is why we have to be critical thinkers, because everything on the surface doesn't always appear what it is. Okay, so what would happen is I know one specific manager, and you ever see this? I'm a New Yorker, and New Yorkers think they know everything. If you don't know, we think we know everything. We would have to have the last word, and we will argue you down. That is one of the natures of being a New Yorker, and that is one of I don't know if this is a positive or negative flaw, but as I've grown and I've gotten older, I would think I was right often when I was younger, like my mid-20s, okay? And what she would criticize me about, this specific manager, is my ability to be organized and time management. My ability to be organized and time management. I'm thinking, you guys, what she would criticize me on. And so thinking, this is when I'm teaching y'all to be a critical thinker, because I'm sharing you guys my own experience, and I remember what I thought. When she would criticize me about this, I thought she just has to have something negative to say. That she's not going to give me 5s or 5 stars across the board, an excellent review, because then that means that I have nothing that I need to work on. Okay, and often sometimes that is one of the strategies of sales managers, is they won't give you a 100% excellent review because they want you to be able to grow. But she would say organization and time management, and as I got older, what I realized why she was focusing on time management and organization. As I go older and I start juggling more duties and responsibilities, I start trying to build a business, even making these videos. I'm having different types of issues, personal issues, business issues, and being quick on my feet, thinking quick is not helping me. So she probably was saying this to me because she was thinking, you know what, if she is this successful, not being organized, okay, not being organized and not managing her time efficiently, imagine if she was more organized and more efficient. And maybe 10 years ago, I realized that when I started trying to build a business. being a good salesperson, being able to speak well, understanding my product, that wasn't enough. Managing my time, having things organized so I can find it in a timely manner, that would make me a better salesperson, a better person overall. So it's really funny because, again, I'm saying this to you because I remember I was in a sales rep for many years, and I hit my goals. I'm very determined. I'm a never say die. I will get through all the no's and keep going. So I was successful, but was I always efficient and effective or efficient? Could I have had more sales? You know, and because of my struggles today, because I still have some issues with time management, having to do with me talking a lot, and being organized. So I am open to criticism. And another thing that I want to say to you real quickly that I want to put under this subject of being able to take constructive criticism. Another person that made me more mindful of being open to criticism is years ago, maybe 10 years ago, Will Smith said, I heard him say this somewhere, that he is open to criticism. I think he was raised like in a military background, and he said that he always strived to be the best, and how he strives to be the best is by being open to criticism, that he wasn't always looking for praise. Praise wasn't what drove him. What drove him was being better, being open to the criticism of what he wasn't doing well, what he could have done better, and that's how he became successful in his craft. He was open to listening to people who says, well, this is what you can do better. This is how you can improve. And that's what made him the best or better actor or whatever he was trying to do. And I'm like that. I'll hear little, statements or phrases that people say, and they kind of stick with me. And Will Smith was one of the people that kind of influenced me to be a lot more open to constructive criticism. So that's very important to be a critical thinker, is that you have to be open to criticism. Okay, so we're going to get down to the nitty gritty because I'm going to have some examples for you guys pretty soon here. But I want to recap. So to be a critical thinker, we want to make sure that we find its credible source. When analyzing information, we want to determine if the information is clear, accurate, precise, consistent, relevant, reasonable, and fair. We want to be a critical thinker. We have to be open-minded. We have to be aware of our personal biases and prejudices. We have to be able to be open to criticism. And that's so far. Also, when thinking critically, the crucial question of critical thinking is, why does someone want me to believe something? That's, again, has to do with the credibility of the source. What were the potential problems with what he or she is saying? We're thinking critically, okay, you guys? How do you evaluate this information? Is information reasonable, and can I form my own opinion? Okay, so I'm going to discuss some examples of critical thinking as it relates to us being Black people. I want to discuss Monique, and you know what? I'm not really comfortable with saying this, and I'll get into why. Monique said something about Black people going to the airport, and she made a statement that Black women were not mindful of their appearance, that we had, we lost pride. That's what her statement insinuated. And we're going to discuss her statement and her making these opinions about Black women. I also want to talk about Simone Biles. And there was a few months ago, maybe even last year, there was a photo shoot that she did an article in Vogue. And people believe that the photographer, Annie Leibovitz, a world-renowned photographer, was not capable of lighting the photo efficiently or effectively, or in putting Simone Biles in the best light because she's a black woman. So again, there was this buzz going on the internet that Simone Biles did an article with Vogue, and the world-renowned photographer Annie Leibovitz. When you're a world-renowned photographer, that means you're very talented at what you do. And one of the talents of being a good photographer is understanding lighting and creating proper lighting. Okay, it was this buzz going on Twitter and Instagram that they just didn't care about poor little Simone Biles, and they just had a horrible shoot and made her look great in the photo. We're going to discuss that. And finally, I want to discuss Kamala Harris saying that she didn't believe America was racist, or however she termed it. She didn't believe America was prejudiced or racist. She made some kind of statement that, no, she didn't believe America was racist, but I think she followed up with it. We cannot ignore the history of America, is what she said. So it was this big to-do about Kamala, I can't say her name right, Kamala Harris insinuating that she believed that America was not racist. So we're going to begin with Monique.
Hey, my sweet babies. So, it took me a minute to say what I'm getting ready to say because I want to make sure I'm not saying it in judgment, and I want to make sure I'm saying it from a place of love. Y'all, some of y'all have given me the title of auntie, and I'm honored that y'all do that, right? But there are times where auntie got to talk to her babies and say some real shit. So yesterday, I was in the airport in Atlanta because I'm in Jackson, Mississippi now at Chuckles Comedy Club, right? And we got 3 shows tonight. We got a matinee at 5:30, then we got 7, then we got 10, right? And I'm excited. I always love going to the stage. So when we got to the airport yesterday, I was excited, like, all right, baby, let's go get him in Jackson, Mississippi. And as we began to walk through the airport, I saw so many, actually too many to count and too many for me to tap. But I saw so many of our young sisters in head bonnets, scarves, slippers, pajamas, blankets wrapped around them, and this is how they're showing up to the airport. And I've been seeing it, not just at the airport, I've been seeing it at the store, at the mall. I've been seeing sisters showing up with these bonnets and headscarves and their slippers. And the question that I'm having to you, my sweet babies, when did we lose pride in representing ourselves?
Okay, you guys. I'm going to try to be real calm about this because I'm going to disclose to you that video upset me. So remember, when we're critical thinking, we have to evaluate the information. I'm not auntie, I'm the 20th key, and I love black people, okay? And the purpose of critical thinking with the 20th key is so we can level up and we can be free from bondage. I am having a visceral reaction to that video. And it's one of the things that influenced me to make this series called Critical Thinking with the 20th Key. So what Monique insinuated is that black women are running around the airport, the United States, in slippers, head bonnets, pajamas, and blankets. And this is where we have to start learning about critical thinking. We have to think of the source. Okay? So I come up with my own conclusions based on looking at the information and evaluating it. Okay, so we have to look at the source. Who is the source? Monique. Okay, Monique is a comedian, actress who has had some great strides, but she's been very honest about her struggle in her career. Okay, we know to stay relevant on social media, we have to create content. And what the norm today is to make provocative comments, provocative content. So a black woman telling black women that you have lost pride is provocative. It is attention grabbing, right? So remember, when we're a critical thinker, we have to consider the source. Okay, I'm a black woman and I've traveled the world. I can sit here and tell you, and I don't want to brag to you, but I've been to Jamaica 3 times, to Bermuda, to Guanacaste, that's Costa Rica. I've traveled. I used to travel probably 2 or 3 times a year. And I don't recall ever seeing a black person with a bonnet on. Okay? But then let me say this to you. Let's look at the source again. Monique is a black woman who has struggled with her weight her entire life. I, the 20th key, has also had some struggles with my weight. Okay? Being that, so we've all known that Monique, I think even in the video, she makes some comment about someone telling her, you want to work on your weight. So is it conceivable to believe that Monique might focus on looking at black women and their appearance? So she frequently comes from a judgmental standpoint because she knows herself as a black woman, a heavyset black woman. She's always being judged. So is it conceivable that when she's in the airport, or then she says she's seen black people in bonnets and slippers everywhere. And you know, guys, this is with critical thinking, you guys, okay? So let me say this to you. Again, one of the criteria is we have personal biases and prejudices, okay? For the past 20 years, I've lived in an upper middle class suburban area. There are black people, a very small percentage of black people, but they're black people, okay? So my experience is going to be different from Monique's experience, from your experience, and many other people's experiences, okay? I don't remember seeing anyone walking around my neighborhood, black people, and because I'm a black person, when I see black people in my neighborhood, I'm going to notice black people. Don't recall seeing any black people in slippers, head bonnets, or pajamas walking around the street. Okay? And I want to touch on this, and I want to be able to get into this and be specific so you can understand what I'm saying. One of the issues with being black in America is a negative narrative about black people. If you live in an area where black women are not doing their hair and they're wearing bonnets and pajamas around, you might believe what Monique is saying is true. You might believe, oh, she's just trying to do us a favor and she's saying black people have some pride. But see, let's talk about it. Let's think about it. And I'm just being very honest with you, okay? It's upsetting to me because she is a reflection of me because I'm a black woman. And what she's insinuating is that black women have no pride in their appearance. Let's keep it 100. How much money do black women spend annually on hair care? Okay? How much do we spend doing our hair? Okay, so when I talk about being a critical thinker, let's evaluate the information. And we come to a conclusion based on all the information. One, Monique is a little bit more sensitive to the appearance of a black woman because she's a black woman. So she might be looking for women. She might be more, she's going to notice a black woman who may not be at her best before she might notice a black woman who's well put together. Okay, now this is all speculative on my part. I am evaluating information. And what I know, because America hates black people, because I know the media tries to portray black women as ghetto, hood, ignorant, uneducated. That is the narrative. And so if we as black people are sitting at home and we're seeing the media say these things about black people, we can only go on based on what we see. We're going to believe that. If the media is saying that, we're going to think, oh man, black people are walking around in bonnets and slippers. And you guys, I got to tell you guys. Now again, I don't live in a highly populated black area, okay? But I travel, and I notice black people. I've never seen a black person run around anywhere with a bonnet on, okay? So when you think about that, I think Sister Monique is from Maryland, and based on what she's saying, the shows that she's going and doing and what she's doing and how she presents herself, she might engage with the type of black woman who will wear a bonnet and put on flippers and pajamas. The black people that I engage with, they're not wearing a bonnet. Now they might be a wig like me, okay? They're not running around the street in pajamas, okay? And so again, what we're doing is that we are trying to be a critical thinker. And this is one of the main reasons why I'm doing this series. I want to say this quick story to you guys. Last year, there was this, what went viral was black girls at a restaurant twerking. Okay, I'm showing you how to be a critical thinker. Okay, America hates black people. America wants to put black people, black women, black men in a negative light. As a black person, do you know that? Will you agree on that? Okay, and because of that, we have to be very careful on what we believe when information is out there. What upset me was when they talked about those girls twerking in the restaurant. You guys remember that? The girls were twerking in the restaurant, and the owner came out and said, "Listen, y'all out here twerking in the restaurant. Black people." He said something about black people. Y'all not gonna do this in my restaurant. I'm trying to have something nice for black people, and y'all in here twerking. There was all kind of information that went viral, okay? It was on the New York Post that black women were twerking in a restaurant. Let me tell you something. I went to college, and while I was in college, I worked in hospitality and restaurant. Many people in my family were waiters, okay? In restaurant and hospitality, people get drunk and they act a fool. Okay? I have been very clear that I have engaged with a lot of white women. Middle class, upper class, white women get lit. Remember the saying, white girl wasted? And they act a fool. But is it conceivable? Is it probable when a white woman misbehaves in a restaurant is it going to be on the New York Post? Okay? So when you guys who were going to those posts and was like, oh, this is embarrassing. How dare they work in a restaurant? That's embarrassing. They don't have any home training. And what I'm trying to tell you, this is the narrative they are trying to create for Black people. If we fail to be critical thinkers, if they're saying that we're on welfare, that we wear bonnets, that we go to the airport in slippers and pajamas, this is what is being broadcasted about Black people. And if you're a Black person and you're taking in this information and you are not a critical thinker, you will believe this information. Right? What is Monique's motive? Is her motive to say, Black women, you don't have any pride? Or is her motive to get likes and get people to pander to her? We've seen Monique complain about Lee Daniels, Netflix. When has Monique gotten positive attention for anything she's done positive? Precious. And we see what she did with that. Okay? So I'm teaching y'all about critical thinking. The next example I'm going to talk about is Simone Biles. Okay, the next discussion is Simone Biles. And Simone Biles is a gymnast who I believe she won, like, guys forgive me for not knowing exactly, but I know she could gold medal at the Olympic. So she is known for being a world-class gymnast. Beautiful Black girl. And you guys, I tend to come from a place of emotion. Someone told me that today. And I'm working better on just looking at the facts. Okay? But I've got to disclose to you that this is another thing that upsets me. Because it paints a negative narrative about Black people. And one of the important reasons why I think we need to be critical thinkers is because how we are perceived in society can affect our self-esteem and our ability to function and navigate if we have a belief that things are negative or poor or bad. Which, being Black in America is a struggle. And that's one of the reasons why we need as little struggles and negative ideas of ourselves as possible. That's why I want you guys to be more of a critical thinker. Okay, so this is Simone. I'm going to put Simone's picture in here. This is her in the Vogue magazine. Okay, so there was some chatter about, oh, look, and you guys, if y'all know me, y'all know I got something to say, right? And so I'm very sensitive to Black people. I have been my whole life. I am the champion of the underdog. And I have some concerns about Simone Biles because I love Black people and I want Black people to be happy. And we are always scrutinized. I'm not mistaken, I think initially she was scrutinized about her hair. Okay? And so we need to free Black people from bondage. And so to do that, we have to operate effectively, efficiently, and with sound judgment. Okay? And so this is not a really big deal, but this is an example of being a critical thinker. Yes, they do bad things to Black people. I'm in a hotel because I'm Black and racial discrimination. Yes, they violate us. Yes, they do things that are despicable. They murder us in broad daylight. So this is not about defending white people or some photographer. This is about being a critical thinker and having sound judgment. Okay? The reason why this young lady is gray in the photo. She's wearing a Marc Jacob exquisite dress. She looks gray. The background is gray. Because Annie Leibovitz is a world-renowned photographer, and it was art. Okay? It was art to grab your attention. Some people, if they see a magazine article or a photo in a magazine, and it piques their interest, like, she look gray. Why is she gray? Many intelligent, critical thinking people are going to read the article. They're not going to sit on Instagram and Twitter and say, look how they did the poor lining of Simone Biles. She talked about being sad and depressed. And y'all know me. I'm a person who comes from a place of feeling. And looking at that photo, she's not happy. That's what she's gray. Gray can be synonymous with down, low, feeling down or gray. It's upsetting to me, you guys, because it's a world-renowned photographer. World-renowned photographer means that she's very talented at what she does. One of the talents of great photographers is they understand the concept of lighting. Here I'm going to put another photo taken by Annie Leibovitz. Her family. Look at the photo. Look at each person in the photo. The lighting is perfect because it's a family photo. The other photos was depicting how she feels and what she thinks. And you guys, forgive me for being so dramatic or melodramatic, because I'm an emotional and feeling person. I am very strongly influenced by my mood and how I feel. My ability to be successful and navigate oftentimes can be influenced by how I feel. This girl has achieved great accomplishments. But in the article, it tells about her being blue and being sad and all her obstacles. And you guys, when we look at other champions, other people in America, in the world, have challenges. You don't have to just be black to have a challenge, But we are extra challenged. It's because we are in a country that oppresses us. Their purpose is to oppress, demean, belittle, and make us feel devalued. That's a white supremacist collective conscience. Because I'm a critical thinker, I think, how do I combat this white supremacist collective conscience? I gotta love black people. I gotta let them know that they're good enough, and they're smart enough, and they're strong enough, and they're capable. But I have a struggle because all the media and all the signs are saying negative things about black people. And to be a critical thinker, you have to think. You are a black person. How many times in your life have you come across someone who was racist, biased, said things or made you feel inferior? If that is your experience, when you evaluate situations, please don't take it for face value that what you're seeing in the media is true. And I should have said this about the Monique situation. Sometimes we believe stuff because we might be the one going to the store with a bonnet on our head or in pajamas. So we think every black person is doing it. Okay? Because we had some poor experiences, maybe with a photographer who had a horrible job lighting, or we were at a company event or something and the lighting is horrible because they can't light black people. Black people are not well lit. They don't know how to do our makeup or whatever. Yeah, that is definite an issue for black people. But this specific incident was artistic expression. And this is like critical thinking. Are you able to admit when you're wrong? Are you able to look at your personal biases? Each time that I address this issue on Instagram, y'all attacked me. Y'all wanted to believe that Annie Leibovitz was not talented enough to like this girl in a Vogue article. Now, come on, y'all. Y'all gotta come better than that. This is a world-renowned photographer. Do you think she's gonna let her work go and have this girl gray? She was gray and she was dark in this photo. You think they did it because they wanted to make a mockery of this little black girl? Only person that's making a mockery of this little black girl are other black people. Y'all, I need y'all to level up. They ain't gonna save us. They're not gonna free us. We're gonna have to free ourselves. And one of the ways that we're gonna free ourselves, we gotta be able to think critically and assess situations and navigate effectively. Not take bullshit information that's being fed to us and believe it. You understand what I'm saying? What brings me to the next topic, Kamala Harris. Okay, so this is another, all these topics kind of upset me, probably one reason why I'm discussing them. But Kamala Harris said that she says, I don't believe America's racist. That's laughable, right? Black people. And so let's talk about being a critical thinker, the source of the information, evaluate why what is being said is being said. Kamala Harris was elected as the assistant president of the vice president of the United States. Black people, I believe, is less than 16% of the population. Okay? Do you think those who, many, a large portion of those who put Biden and his co-mate Kamala Harris in office would like to believe that they're racist? Do you think the people that voted for Biden and his running mate, any part of those who voted her and Biden into office, do you think that they believe that they're racist? If she said that America was racist, how many non-black people would she offend? What is the probability or the likelihood that she would be looked upon favorably? Okay? And black people, I need y'all to listen and hear and understand. Okay? Because I'm dealing with some serious personal stuff. And one of my problems is having black people help and assist me. Okay? But we have to be smart and honest about how you navigate in America. I mean, we are the minority. We are the oppressed minority in bondage and have been since they brought us. Remember, we're not like other immigrants. They stole us from Africa and brought us here and enslaved us. Do you understand that? Do you get that? Okay? Remember, we talked about being a critical thinker and people, intelligent people and insecure people not admitting when they're wrong? Okay? You guys see people, just white people defending this stuff all day long. What I'm trying to say to you, she said that not because she believed it. She said that because she has to maintain a certain image in America. Being black, you have to navigate. And now some of y'all about, let's keep it real. Yo, I was raised in New York City. And I was raised in an environment where we were taught to tell the truth. If you didn't tell the truth, you wasn't keeping it real. But as I got older and I worked in corporate America and I learned how to navigate, I learned some things you just don't say. And it's not about keeping it real. It's about being effective and efficient in achieving your goals, getting to the finish line unscathed. So when we talk about Kamala Harris, does she really believe that America isn't racist? And this part this is the part that's really upsets me, and you guys are going to hear me talk about this all the time, is when black people have this impression of other black people. Black people, we're all black, okay? We all can have issues when we're driving down the road in the middle of the night and a white cop come behind us. If we're in a Mercedes or we're in a Rolls Royce. We heard how years ago someone offended Oprah Winfrey. We all have stories about being treated unfairly and unequally. So is Kamala Harris is a minority in America. And let me tell y'all, she's in California. And I keep trying to tell y'all, California is Jim Crow on steroids. If this black woman was able to navigate politics as a black woman, if you're a black person and you work in a corporation, if you're middle level management, if you're higher level management, if you engage with anyone outside of the black community, what do you need to do to navigate? So often, and this is one of the reasons why we don't win as much as we should, those we put in power have some apprehension about speaking about our best interests. That's one of the issues about being black. Every other nationality can say, hey, take care of Indians, take care of Asians, take care of Mexicans. Some of us are embarrassed to say, black people have issues. One of the things that we are complaining about is those that we put in charge who are our spokesperson for black people. They're not always comfortable with saying this is happening because we're black. And that's an issue. And those are one of the issues we're going to talk about on this channel, about how we're going to have to change the norm. We're going to have to get comfortable with saying, hey, that happened because we're black. Okay? But when we say it, it has to be authentic. It has to be real. See, if we keep complaining about all these things and they're not just and they're not accurate and not correct, we're going to be perceived as black people who are complaining. There may be people on that shoot for Simone Biles who knew, who did the artwork, who worked on it, who understood, who read the article. You know what they're going to say? Black people are so stupid they don't even read the article. They're too dumb to read the article. Read the article. Don't say, yes, they evaluate us. Yes, some black women walking around with bonnets on their head, I guess. I haven't seen any, okay? Only person I've ever seen in a bonnet was, I think, Tammy Roman has some kind of YouTube account. Okay, I'm not even hip to the bonnet. Y'all see what I do, okay? So, I'm asking you to take time and be mindful of when you take in this information, understand where it's coming from, why it's being said, who's saying it, and try to discern the validity of information. Okay, you guys? Listen, I'm going to wrap this up. This is Critical Thinking with the 20th Key.